I probably really should have used the Phoenix, the Jeep trailer, the bigger trailer, but we've managed to make it a lot more difficult than I was expecting. Well, that was a disaster. Could have been worse, but and that could have been worse. But if you, as far as the ways up, you can go up that way, and And if you can make it up that little crest right there, you're pretty well home free, because it's a whole lot lower grade the rest of the way. But whereas going this way, and now we're still, but going this direction, you got a long grade that is 35% grade. So this trailer, if anybody is curious, this trailer is well, actually I'm brain farting on who it's from. The same guys who make this map, if memory serves me right. So if you're looking for this trailer, obviously you see we're running the Jeep between the truck and the trailer. This, and then we're also running a booster for a fourth axle on the back. Now we've got another one of these trailers that the same front setup, and then we actually have a spacer with three more axles. That was the first trailer we were using. That was behind the Phoenix with the sleeper cab. But once we get equipment up to the top of the hill, we can start mining. We've got, you know what, I think we're just going to cheat. We've got equipment up here. And once we get to the top here, So the reason why we did not just reset this truck is if we were to reset it and reset the tank, then the tank would be emptied and would defeat the purpose of having this truck with a tank on it. So this truck is just being used as our refueling truck. We've got the big tank down at the yard, which we have. I think it's not quite full, but that tank holds 150,000 liters of fuel. Whereas this tank on this truck, it's pretty small, 4,100 liters. But, and as a matter of fact, I'll play with that here. But by resetting all the equipment after having set things up here, make things a little bit easier. So the conveyor belt is going to be used for loading tailings the monster of a rock truck. That truck is going to be what's going to be used for the tailings. Alright, so that's that. Let's grab so the D6 and the D7, both of those we have rippers for. We do not have the ripper for it. We can get it. I think we'll use the D7 on top. I don't know if we're going to use the D6 up there. We're definitely going to be using the Komatsu up there. Komatsu is a monster. The dozer. It's, I'd say, 3 times the dozer that the C7 is. Now I have access to a D11 dozer also. The Komatsu is bigger than the D11 is. So as far as all the equipment that I'm running, most all of this equipment, cats, Volvos, whatever that larger rock truck is, most everything I got from FS Miner. He's done quite a bit of work across multiple different games for providing mods and whatnot. And then another thing we're going to be doing is we are running Terraform. And with terraforming, it's pretty simple setup. So now terraforming is going to be keyboard and mouse, or it's going to be computer only. It's not going to work for consoles because of scripting. So it's something to keep in mind if you want to do this, or this type of stuff where you're using equipment to actually change the terrain. It's going to be PC only so we are going to set this right here for the time being. So if I did things right, we're going to be running level, but we're going to be shooting for 1 meter below this. Next we have to do, we'll set up the graphic first. So you'll have a trick, or we'll tell you what keys you need to use in the top left corner. Currently I have it set to T. Default is actually and that's only because of one piece of equipment that doesn't run, or it shares, Y shares with another function. So we're not going to be really doing much discharge for filling, which we can do with like the front loader and whatnot. So that's that. So the main thing for using this, obviously, it's going to be enabled on. It's automatically like that. The main things that you're going to be working with is your material. In this case, we need dirt. It's going to be dirt, soil, dirt. The reason for it is the wash plant we're using. That's where we put it. Now, the little bitty wash plant that's down at the yard would actually use pay dirt. This we're using dirt. And then texture. Texture is just going to be whatever texture you want the end result. I like the dirt gravel texture. So that's good. And in order to sync the machine up to the server, come down here, you hit calibrate, you can select the surveyor. So now we've got that set up. Next up, to the right, on the right side of the screen is shovel, terraform material, discharge material, dirt gravel. So first and foremost, we're going to change the first material to terraform grade. So we're going to grade to the surveyor. And what that's going to do is it's going to dig to the survey height, and won't go any lower. And then with the grade, you can actually set it to work a slope. So, say you wanted to set a grade from where our surveyor is, and you want to do it all the way to that water out there. You would set this here. All right, you would hit calibrate, and we'll just point right there for the time being. And then you would come hit apply, and now it's going to go work at that angle. So, all right. So, that's that. All right, and then when you're in the piece of equipment, you got everything set up. You just turn Terraform on, and it's not changing the level. All right. So there's two ways around that. Let's get back to it. The easiest way to do it whenever it's not setting right is I've found that you just take this, you come over, and you start down on your slope, on your ramp, and it's not much. Now, and it's simple as that. Now this bucket's kind of small. Relative. 14,000 liters. Whereas the bucket that I have on this Volvo is quite a bit larger, but this bucket is not compatible currently with, or not set up for terraforming. So it is what it is. Now my excavators that I've got, they are all set up for terraforming, but I do not have my sticks set up yet. So for the time being, until I get those set up, I'll just be running front loader for loading rock truck, and I'll be running dozer because both of those are fairly easy to run with keyboard and mouse. But until I get everything set up, that's how I'm going to be working things. So, but here's our first rock truck, or our rock truck. What we're going to start off with is we're just going to be taking dirt down and putting it by the wash bin. One thing I could do is I could take that dozer, rip the ground, and with having it ripped, then I'd be able to use the larger bucket on the other front loader. And with how shallow we're working, we can easily do work. Don't think we're going to get much more in the truck, but this grade right here, from the tabletop down, it's not the steepest. It is still fairly steep, and then it's like a 20% grade. Now, as far as over the road wise, that would be either all kinds of markers warning about for truck drivers. More than likely you will see a mandatory stop at the top of the hill, so that you knew that you went on the brakes. If you're to be driving down a long hill that's at 20% grade or more, even less even. If you're to be driving down one of those hills, the best thing to do is, first off, you want to start slow. Pretty the way I was taught when I was over the road, whatever the truck can do going up the hill, it's best to go about 50% slower than what you can go. And the number one thing is you're going to work on is you're going to work on the jake brake. And after, with the jake brake running, one hit, full tilt. And then if you start accelerating, if you still keep accelerating, you want to stab the brakes. And what that means is you're going to be on and off the brakes. You'll hit the brakes, slow down 5 miles an hour, let off. Hit them, wait a little bit, hit them again. 5 mile an hour, let off. And what that's going to do is it's going to keep you from overheating your brakes. The worst thing that you can do um, is overheat your brakes when you're going down a hill. And if you do that, then you're going to be in a world of hurt. Because then you're a runaway. Now, a lot of those steep hills, they have runaway lanes. And if you're a company driver and you take one of those lanes, you're more than likely going to get fired. But getting fired for the expense of getting your truck out of the runaway lane is way better than the cost of going to jail because you hit somebody. A couple years back, I think it was, an inexperienced driver was, I think he was in Colorado, was driving. Like I said, he's inexperienced. He was going down a hill. He was accelerating. He was going, kept accelerating, and I think he actually popped his emergency brakes, which is the worst thing you can do because he was heavily loaded. Basically, what ended up happening is he just he overheated his brakes, glazed them over, and he essentially had no brakes. So you definitely do not want to overheat your brakes going down a hill. Bad news bear. You're going to have a bad day. Anyone in front of you is going to have a bad day. So just don't do it. The best thing to do, like I said, 15% less than what you can do up the hill is your ideal speed for going down the hill. Now, yeah, that's going to mean you're going to be way slower than the rest of traffic. And the best thing you can do in that situation is turn your hazards on and just let the engine brake do its job. That's going to do your best braking without running the risk of overheating your brakes or whatnot. So, plus, you get the joy of listening to your Jake brake as you're going down the hill. When I was over the road, that was probably, I know it's going to sound childish, but that was my favorite part of driving a truck, was listening to the Jake. Don't drive anymore. I've considered going back over the road, but if I did go back over the road, it'll be in my own truck. I'm not working for another company. All the big carriers, they treat their drivers are just numbers to them. They're not people; they're just numbers. And because I've been out of a truck for a while, most companies won't take someone who's been out of a truck for as long as I have. So, but yeah, if I was to go back over the road, I'd be in my own truck. All right, I think I might actually go grab the D6 because the D6, it seems to work a little better for ripping. try something here. Now, as far as for anybody who is considering going over the road, you're just going to go get your CDL and then going to go over the road. Most likely, you're going to start off with driving for a company, and it's probably going to be one of the mega companies. So first and foremost, what you're going to do is you're going to be going to school to get your CDL. Now, if you're going to go that route, which in all honesty, like I said, it's the most common route nowadays. A lot of companies, they offer to pay to send you to school. Now, if you're financially able to do it, pay for schooling out of pocket and have whatever company you're driving for reimburse you. Because for any reason whatsoever that you end up parting ways with the company you're driving for, whether you have clash with your fleet manager or dispatch or something like that, or heaven forbid you have an accident or something and they fire you, whatever reason, if you do not serve out the full contract, then the company will then expect you to pay for the school. And typically, if that happens, it's going to be at a much inflated rate. Like when I went to get my CDL, if I wasn't able to pay, I wasn't in the situation financially that I could have done this. But if I had paid outright, it would have been $4,000 to pay for the school. But because of not being able to pay the whole thing up front, my buyout ended up being over $8,000. And that's because I did not stay with the company. Now, that's because I screwed up and I damaged a trailer. But you live and learn. But after that happened, I actually got a local job. Was working that, and that's actually where I got injured. And that injury's taken me out of doing flatbed work. Climbing up and down off of the back of trucks is a challenge when you get the injury that I got. So, but doing all right since then. So, all right. Well, this is extremely slow going. Let's try talking with Komatsu. See if we can do the same thing what we're doing here, but with a much larger blade that Komatsu has. We could definitely go deeper than what we're doing. I would expect that to be even deeper than what we're doing in D7 with this Komatsu. One of the downsides of Komatsu is it's kind of slow. Komatsu's slow, but it's big. Now, once I get my full setup set up, I've got 2 Thrustmaster farm sticks, and then I've got Logitech wheel and pedal setup. I also got the Logitech shifter. Shifter wise, that's for if I not if, but when I start doing racing games. Used to be a bit of a street racer. I did some stupid stuff when I was a kid, and what I mean by kid, when I was still a teenager. Stuff I'm not exactly proud of. Now, back in the at the time, I had a lot of fun, but yeah, not something to be proud of. I broke a car or two doing that, and at the time, I didn't have the money to fix. Fortunately, one of the cars was actually still covered under warranty. Um, so, so the Komatsu seems to be doing pretty decent at this. Now we would actually probably be able to go even deeper than we are in one pass with this guy with as well as it's doing. But for the time being, we'll keep at this like it is. Yeah, the big downside on the Komatsu is reverse. It's 4 miles per hour, which is quite a bit slower. All right. Then its forward speed, about half. So what I'm doing is I'm pushing it all to a pile. Then I'm going to grab the front loader with the larger bucket and use it for loading the rock truck. Now another thing you can do, it's a whole lot lazier. But what you can do is you can set up a conveyor system that has auto pickup to pick up the dirt, or well, in this case, dirt, straight off the ground, and makes things easier. And in all honesty, whenever I'm working off camera, that's the main way I would be doing it. Just so I can get more work accomplished in a shorter amount of time. Now, another thing you can do if you've got, I think it's enhanced vehicles, um, you can set it to where your vehicle, whatever you're using, in this case I'm using a dozer, locks onto a heading. Um, I have it default set on at 90 degrees, so it will run 90, 0, 90, 180, 270. So your four cardinal directions. And that way, say you're setting up a field, or say you're working a huge area, you can lock it in and it's going to keep your equipment going straight to the best of its ability. Now, when you start doing some of the stuff like what we're doing right here, you'll run into your equipment's going to get jostled around and it might shift you left or right. And if you're making a long push, that left or right could be the full width of your equipment. So something to keep in mind, but it is handy. All right. I think there's still a little bit of dirt in this bucket. Yeah. Sorry about that. But yeah, we'll go ahead and empty what's in this bucket into the rock truck. Now, I guess technically we could grab the big. Oh, if we were to grab the big rock truck, we would definitely probably have to use the conveyor setup. Either that, or once I've got everything set up to do the excavator, that would be workable. But with the front loaders that I have, they're not big enough for the purpose of loading the big rock truck. But if I were to take this conveyor up there, we can load that rock truck real quick. So if memories, this is, now, hang on, that's bugging me. Let me see. Realistic Gaming Crew. That's who I was trying to think of earlier. RGC. They are who put out this map. They are who put out the bucket that I have on this front loader. This bucket, if memory serves me right, has a 35,000 liter capacity, which is monstrous. Um, I think stock on this bucket is like 5 or 10,000 liters. So now, I'll be honest, I'm kind of a lazy gamer. Um, I do things that I will be doing things to make things easy on myself. Um, I'm not a good equipment operator, so I will. No, I think the bug is even bigger than that. 'Cause I've already got 34,000 liters in here. And I'm 1%. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be using this truck or this bucket and front loader. All right, well, but that is why we got the extra capital for figuring out what equipment's going to work best for us, what's not. All right, I'm going to change some settings, and of course, it's going to force a save. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and show you my setup for when I do conveyors. Just make things easy on me. That way we can get a lot accomplished. All right. So first and foremost, we'll have to. There it is. Turn the automatic engine start off. And the reason behind that is you're going to have to be able to leave your belts running. Now, as far as belts go, this is a modded version of the base game belts. Both of these belts have auto load on them, so they will go ahead and load from the ground. All right, we'll grab two of them. So now these belts, stock, they just do like 3 mile an hour, but this mod pack, they allow for much faster. Um, I need to get Diesel in here. I think we can offload Diesel with this trailer, as far as into the wash plant. Yeah, that's plenty. All right. We're gonna go fill the wash plant up, and then probably off camera, I'm actually gonna go to refill the silo or the fuel tank. The fuel buy station. There's a fuel pump on the other side of the map. We've got, or you can just have the fuel delivered, either which way. As far as fuel buy station, there's actually not one base set up on the map. You have to add one. I've got a pump set up over at the spawn location where you first start on the map. So let's see if this truck will make it up the hill. This is probably the least powerful truck that I've got. Even my little Mercedes have more power than this does. But this Pete, it's like 500 horse, I think. Now, speaking of this setup, if you're ever pulling a tank, well, first and foremost, you'd have to have tanker endorsement. And if you're pulling fuel like this, like we are right now, you'd also have to have hazmat endorsement. I actually do have my tanker endorsement on my license. I have my tanker endorsement, and then I've got doubles and triples. I actually did pass the written exam on for hazmat, but I never went through and did all the paperwork for it. Company I was working for, at the time, the pay difference to having hazmat versus not having hazmat, it wasn't worth the hassle. On top of that, I would have had to pay to get, or to do all the fingerprinting everything for the hazmat. And at the time, I was broke. I was beyond broke. Prior to me getting going to get my CDL, I was an auto mechanic. Uh, I was working full time turn wrenches. Um, I had quite a bit in tools. As a matter of fact, I had after I had gotten out of turn wrenches, I started doing the math on how much I spent on tools, and I spent on tools what I bought my house for, or almost, anyways. Um, so, and at the time, or when I left, I was only making $15.50 an hour. That's it. When I left turn wrenches. Now, depending on where you're at in the country, $15.50 doesn't get you very far. And then also, if you're young, dumb, and don't know how to manage money, um, that $15.50 wasn't covering what I was spending. So, needless to say, or like I was saying, I was poor. I was in rough shape financially. So made a lot of stupid mistakes when I was a kid, uh, and when I was a young adult. I've learned a good bit, um, and there's a bunch of stuff that I know that I'm doing wrong, but I still do wrong. All right, there's the trailer I was looking for. All right. That was more than enough diesel that we can get things started. All right, so activate. Now, all right, so we're going to be getting. All right. So, for whatever reason, you can't dump the tailing straight into a truck. So, we're using the conveyor to dump them into or lift them up into the truck after the tailings have already hit the ground. Um, don't know why it's set up that way, but yeah, whatever. So, that's what we got to do. Um, we'll just let it run like that. Conveyor belt would have to stay on, but the machine, in this case the rock truck, can stay off. 'Cause, 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 Alright, so now one of the lovely things with these belts, you can, they actually have some storage capacity. Um, so you can do what I just did there and kind of clean up the area a little bit. All right, and let's go grab the Volvo. Oh, hey, we didn't turn the Mercedes off. Now, I know if we're to drive up to equipment, driving up next to the Mercedes, we should be able to refill. I mean, this truck's got a lot of fuel in it, so I don't know if it'll give me the trigger. Yeah, it's not giving me the trigger. Oh, yep, there it did. There you go. Refill mining truck. So we'll still be able to use that truck for um, refilling the equipment. We're just not going to be able to use it for fueling up the wash plant. The wash plant, we're going to have to use a semi, as far as at least as the equipment that we have. Um, but now these rock trucks that I've got that I'm running, this Volvo and that big truck, I forget what it's called. Both of these trucks actually, as you see on the right, they have terraforming option on them. And what you can do with them is you can dump with them um, to or to dump to level. Um, so in theory, um, one could uh, load up the truck, run it to the wash plant, run it through the wash plant, uh, dump to load, or dump to grade, it'll grade out. And um, and then turn around and pick it back up and run it through the wash plant again. Um, Now, another let's scroll up to the trucks. Um, so we're running this Volvo right here, the 60H, the A60H, and then the big truck is this is Hitachi. This Hitachi, uh, 2000 or I'm sorry, 224,000 liters versus this Volvo is only 48,000 liters. Um, so much bigger truck. Now we could use that truck. That truck is well. It even says it. Fake capacity bell dumper. This was designed for if you're using for setting up a map. You would fill the truck, and then you would go and dump it out on the ground. This dumps at the 15-meter width. I've actually played with it a little bit just to see how it is. It's kind of fun to use, but this version of the truck does not have terraforming enabled. This truck, the base version of it does. Now this is all through, as I mentioned earlier, FS Miner in pack 7 for FS25. This truck too has terraforming enabled. Now, why anybody would use this truck over the Volvo, I don't know. The Volvo, larger capacity and cheaper, like half the cost almost, or actually, yeah, less than half. So, but that is an option. If I'm not mistaken, this truck is enabled also, but yeah, I grabbed the Volvo. That's what popped up in the used market. You know, this truck right here, if memory serves me right, is bigger. Let's double check. So flat across the very top. Actually, we'll go flat across there. All right. No, Volvo is bigger. Oh. The Volvo's got a higher capacity, 48,000 liters versus 42,000 liters. So, this Komatsu is not part of FS Miner. It is not enabled for Terraform. This JCB, it is enabled. Now, this is a much smaller truck. I actually used that in one of my previous recordings before these trucks were enabled. This one, this one, this one, this one. But yeah, so let's go run this down. I'm thinking about grabbing one of the bigger truck capacities, or one of the trucks with larger capacity. Either that, or I've got a semi-trailer down at the bottom of the hill that's 200,000 liters capacity. It does not have terraforming enabled, but it's just a large capacity trailer. Now, one of the things with the belts, if you're not, or if there's no product close by, they'll automatically turn off as far as the belt goes, and it just takes getting close to the belt for it to turn back on. And it's going to do that everywhere, every which way, regardless. Now, in this situation, just rolling up under the belt will automatically turn it on. So, this is by far the easiest way. You go rip up the ground, you make yourself a big pile, and then use a belt to load it into a truck. That's the easiest way. It is cheating, but when you're running by yourself and you're running keyboard and mouse, that's the easiest route to go. Now, once I get set up to where I'm using using the joysticks and the wheel and everything. I'll be using the excavator. I'll be using that big excavator. It's got a humongous bucket on it. Oops. So I might be wondering why I left a dozer down here. And this right here is the reason. Now the D6T, which is what this dozer is not part of FS Miner. His is the D6 A, I think. Let's double check. D6R. I had the D6T before the D6R was added to being terraforming enabled. So now in theory what I could have just done is turn the conveyor to being aimed at this pile, and the conveyor would have picked it up, and that'd be the end of the story. But using using the dozer and pushing, it's part of the reason why we got the equipment. All right. Well, I'm probably going to be wrapping things up here. I actually got some things I got to get accomplished yet today. Some of those never-ending chores and whatnot. So, but off camera, I will probably be working to, or actually, I will be setting the surveyor up so that we're digging deeper than what we currently are. Um, and then we'll continue working it um, toward the center, where we'll be picking up either that or I'll set up my sticks and wheel and everything. Kicker is space that I have available. So I got to figure that out. But in the meantime, I want to say thank you all for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, follow, leave a comment. And I really hope to catch you guys next time. Take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.